Hey everyone, I just want to do a little bit of show and tell, I suppose, with Midjourney image generation through AI and then going into Photoshop, which I just realized I haven't opened yet. Photoshop's new generative tool. So it's in beta, so you have to download the beta version of Photoshop. But Adobe has their own version of AI called Firefly. And I believe this is their integration into Photoshop. It's also a separate thing you can do through their website. But it's really cool. So I've only played around with it a little bit. Got a little bit of music going. Hopefully it's not too loud. Should be alright. So it's really cool. I've only played around a little bit, like I said. So let's get into this. So I generated an image through Midjourney. Epic tundra landscape. I grabbed this photo, enlarged it here. So just drop this into Photoshop. I could upscale it and get a better image to start out with, but this is fine for what we're doing. So the first thing I could do, which is the main kind of draw to it that I saw, which is these edges of the photo, the image is framed in a certain way, but what if we wanted to continue like this mountain range over this direction, or the river extending down this direction? So if we change the canvas size so we have more room to play with, and let's see, do 300% each direction. Now we got a bunch of white space around there. So if we were to just draw down, and the generative fill, we could type, well actually let's leave it blank and just see what it does. So you leave it blank, it'll look at the image and look at what you have selected, and it'll do what it thinks is best. And then if that doesn't work, we can be more specific with it too. So, so that's a weird response. Let's look at the other versions here. Not sure why we're getting this other stuff, but alright, that one kind of did it. It generated this extra material here. And you will notice if I zoom in, it's definitely like lower resolution and lower detail than the original back here. So that's one unfortunate thing. That could be part of the beta. They're still testing it. I'm just going to tell it that a couple of these are bad results. But let's do something else. So if we go back, and if we select this whole area, tell it to generate all of that. Leave it empty. So it's getting a little bit around the edge of every side as a sample. And I don't know, maybe it's looking inside too. I'm not entirely sure how it works, but I'm telling it, go off of this sample, this frame around the outside. Fill out the rest of it. So there we go. That's a full generative image, and it gives us 3 versions. So version 2, version 3. That's pretty cool. It's very moody. So I actually really like this. I like how it's kind of a vignette in the bottom. I'm going to do one more version though, another generation, because I want to try to add some things and just see if it might do better. Because now if we use this, we have some pretty distinct lighting, and I can't really create anything in the shadows very well. At least I don't want to try, because I'm probably gonna have to do some adjustment. Okay, that's pretty cool. So you can see the river came down and it actually filled this whole foreground. It's another version of that. Oh, I like that too. Boy, all 3 of those are really good. I'm gonna go with this one because we have a lot of water. So then, let's try to get some animals maybe along the shore. So if I kind of just draw an area and say bear. Now before it generates, I will say that every animal, every living thing I've tried to generate, it doesn't do a great job. It does okay. And maybe because of this environment, it'll get a better bear. So there's a bear. I mean, it's got hard outline. It's not really usable as is. We have a silhouette. Let's try again. So I've noticed that kind of has a hard time completely understanding what you're trying to do. It doesn't maybe see this as a scene, like a scenic view. Yeah, I don't really like any of those, so let's get rid of that. So I'm going to try just a larger area and say, let's see. I don't remember what a herd of bears is called, but I'm just going to type herd of bears. Maybe it'll understand. Earlier I was telling it to do a herd of cattle, and that did work. I tried telling it 3 cows, 4 cows, 10 cows, and it didn't get any of that. So you can see it's still got a heavy silhouette, and that might be because this whole bottom area is so dark. It's picking that up because it recognizes the light sources over here, which is actually a really good thing. So let's test that and go like back here and say herd of bears. Actually, I'm going to look up what that is. What is a herd of bears? It's called a litter. All right, bear cubs. A litter of bear cubs. Well, no, that's going to be offspring, isn't it? That's not going to be the whole family. Oh well. All right, so we still got heavy silhouettes here, even though this is supposedly this is in a much more well lit area. So let's see. Let me try bright brown bear. See if that gets it any closer. I mean, it kind of does match the look of the other things, like the rocks and the other features in the landscape. But I want it to actually look like an animal and not just a silhouette of something. It's a little better. And of course, you know, once we generate something, we could go in and select it and edit it in Photoshop. Like we're in Photoshop, so we can always edit things. Like if I rasterize this, and then if I use, I don't remember the name of it. It's either the dodge or the burn tool. It's not that one. Burn means darker, that's right. So dodge. So it's giving us something. Let me see. Exposure up. I just want to try to brighten it up. Yeah, I probably have to do like an adjustment layer. Turn the brightness up, something. I mean, it's okay. So let's see. Let's try something else. Let's grab that and let's try to stick like a cabin over here. I'm gonna draw like an irregular shape and just say cabin. So if you haven't used Midjourney, I highly recommend it. I think it's the best AI image generator out there, even though there's a bunch of other ones. That white roof is not great. Yeah, so yeah, we'll see what we get. What I was gonna say about Midjourney, it really does, like, if you can get multiple elements in the same image, it works to make them look good together. Whereas this, we have an existing scene, and it doesn't know like what it is. It only knows from, turn this down. Sorry, it's loud in my ears. It doesn't know exactly what this is. It knows based on the pixels, but it's not based on a prompt or anything we gave it. So it's kind of limited, right? Let me try cabin with brown roof, because this white roof is not that's not very natural looking. It needs to be like a log cabin, but not look so, yeah, I'm not sure what's up with this. So that's getting closer. I mean, that one's okay. It's got those bright lights, but it's kind of cool. So notice that it got those lights in there. I mean, they're kind of weirdly placed, but it actually created this lighting on the ground in front of it too. So it actually recognized, because if we look at only that layer, it actually does the whole area that I drew, even though the cabin's only in this center spot. But it actually did fill in this area, like with its own, light source and stuff. So that's pretty neat. I'm gonna leave that for now. I think that'll work. I mean, if I really wanted to, I could go in and try try to reduce the, let's see, gotta rasterize. Try to reduce the brightness of those lights. Speaking of bright lights, I have a light right here and it's a little bit in my way, so I have to kind of look around it to see what I'm doing. That's kind of doing it, but it's also giving artifacts. So, oh well, that's good enough. Let's see, what else can we put in here? Let's put something in the water if we can. Maybe like a little boat, a rowboat. Now again, it doesn't know what this is. It doesn't know that there's a prompt called Epic Tundra Landscape that made this. So it's only going to look at the pixels. But I don't know. It's a machine learning, so it probably has some way of recognizing shapes. Okay, we got like a paddle boat. I mean, AI is doing some weird things with this. The look of it's not quite right. Let me see. Look at a wooden boat. So we're just experimenting. We're just trying some things, trying to create some new stuff in this image, some points of interest. And you can imagine, like, a lot of this stuff can be done in Photoshop. Like, if I really wanted good-looking bears, I would find bear photos, or I would generate them elsewhere, and then I'd work them into this image. Okay, a couple of these boats look pretty good. I'm not sure about that one. But these first two boats are pretty cool. There's not a person in them, and they're a little bright. I mean, they're in the foreground. So this would be another one where, let me just do this really quick. So I'm gonna make an adjustment layer for that, but I'm gonna just do a rough magnetic selection here. This top point, this top part of the boat is just really bright. It's like overexposed. Let's see. Do I need the oars? I guess I probably do. It's not perfect because I don't want the ocean or the water behind it. That's what I don't want, because I don't want that to brighten up with the rest of it. Huh. I also noticed it only. Oh, maybe that's an oar up there on the side. It only has 3 oars otherwise. Who says you can't row a boat with 3 oars? Builds character. Alright, so. Alright, so we could, make a selection. I'll just do brightness contrast. Kind of dim that down so it's not as prominent. Lower the contrast. Probably bring it down quite a bit. I mean, that looks pretty good. I just don't want that to be the focus. I mean, these lights in the cabin are still pretty heavy. But that looks pretty good. So then, let's see. Let's do something. I don't know if I can get... Oh, it's too far away, probably. I was thinking about like a flag on top of the mountain, but it's going to be out of proportion. I mean, it'd be tiny, right, to actually see it. But let's try like a hot air balloon up here. It's a little bigger. Hot air balloon. I would think that it would get this pretty well. I mean, it's got a pretty clear sky with clouds, like it's clearly a sky. Let's see what we got. That looks pretty good. Got 2 hot air balloons. I got a non-functional hot air balloon there. That's I don't know what's going on there. That's not quite right. Yeah, I mean, I'd probably go with that one, or I'd regenerate to get 2 of them. Those are really bright too, but I'll leave those for now. Alright, let's see. Let's try to create like a little town kind of out here in the distance. Let's see, small town. So as you can see, the possibilities of this are really endless, and if you know what you're doing in Photoshop already, and in something like Midjourney where you can generate new stuff and then combine them into Photoshop for something unique, I mean, you can really get some cool stuff. So these are okay. They're a little, again, brightly lit. Like there's none of those colors are really in here other than the hot air balloons, which actually are a huge focal point now. That's not really what I wanted, but actually, so if we go back to the hot air balloons, because it's on its own layer, I guess you can't see the layers. So every time you create a generative image, it makes a new layer with a clipping mask, so you can actually go back and go through and go back to the ones that you did. So go to the hot air balloon. We can pull up our properties and say, let's see, we don't want it bright colored, so like dark hot air balloon. Oops. Let's see if that does anything. There aren't really any dark hot air balloons. They're always brightly colored so you can see them. So I don't know what it's going to do. Black. Okay. Yeah, lighting. Oh, that one's on fire. Yikes. What about like brown? It's very bland. Yeah, so if you've ever done any compositing image or compositing in Photoshop of different images, that's kind of what you're doing here. It doesn't look very good either. I'm going to go back, I guess. But the generative part of it, creatively, you can do something right in the program instead of having to like find it on Google or create it yourself. You can just make something, and it may not be perfect. You may end up having to do it manually anyway, but man, this saves some time. So let's see. Let's take a look at our city. I'm going to try to desaturate that too, but again, I'm just going to do a rough. I normally would be a little more meticulous in this, but we're just going to try to reduce the sharp color of that. So, feather that quite a bit so that we don't see. Yeah, I think that should work. So you gotta get the right, there we go. Gotta get the right layer. So we'll do a brightness contrast, adjustment layer. Oh, my properties got pulled off to the side. Oh, I'm getting some lag here. I wonder what that's about. So brightness down. And also desaturate. Oh, you know what? Brightness layer is not on its own layer. What do I do here? Okay. Desaturate. Yeah, that's a little better. It's not going to have such sharp color if it's in the distance like that, I don't think. So that's pretty good. And let's see, we don't actually have a sun in the sky, so I mean, it looks like it's somewhere over here, but I wonder what happens if I were to draw kind of peeking around the mountain. I wonder if it would figure that out. Let's see. Oops. Sun. One thing I haven't figured out is with all these different layers, when you're doing a generative layer, I wonder if it looks at all the layers below, or if it's, I don't know. I don't know how it figures that out. Okay, well that's not gonna work. That's like someone drew it with a colored pencil. All right, so forget that. Again, I'd probably create that just within Photoshop. That's pretty easy to do with a bunch of, you know, soft brushes and stuff. So let's see, what else do we want to add here? I mean, maybe we could add something cool in the background, like a big statue. I don't know if that's gonna work. statue of what? Who knows? It's also really far back, so it wouldn't have a lot of detail. So we'll see if it figures that out. It's very, very far in the distance. Oh man. That's a classy looking image. Why not? I'll leave that. That's hilarious. Okay. Got that in the distance. I want to try something like a bridge. Let's see how it handles that. Yeah, that's okay. These are kind of driven bridges. Maybe it needs to be wooden bridge. Wood bridge. That's something I learned in Midjourney too. It pays to be specific. You know, Adobe's recommendation for this is to use 5 to 8 words and don't use extraneous language. So you want to be specific but not verbose. Okay, that's more like it. Kind of like wood planks. Yeah, there we go. So I like that, although I like it to be more brown. That's pretty light colored. So again, I mean, I haven't been using the mask, actual mask feature, but yeah, I'll just do another magnetic. I'm so used to the magnetic tool. Oop. So again, it's not perfect. I mean, looking at this bridge, you can zoom in, you can tell it's got some anomalies. It's not quite right. And if we really wanted to, we could go in and actually fix some of those, you know, using the clone stamp or something. But we're not that picky. This isn't really a photorealistic image. It's close. So I'll include that. Yeah, it's close to a photorealistic image, but it's not quite that. So we don't need to be perfect. Another brightness contrast layer, turn the brightness down. Actually, I'm going to do the... Oops. Messed something up here. There we go. I want to do hue and saturation. I want to change the hue so it's more brown. Oh, you know what? Lost my selection. That's something you gotta be careful of. So let's do hue and saturation first. Change the hue. I guess it needs more saturation. Just needs to be more on the brown side. Yeah, I don't know if I can get it with an adjustment layer. I probably need to do more of a, like, painting on top of it. That would look better. It's also the channel mixer, which that would help colorize it a little bit better. It's too red. Oh, I lost my selection again. Dang it. Alright, I'm going to leave it alone. There's a lot we could do there. Let's see. It's getting a little bit busy here. Maybe that cabin doesn't need to be there after all. Bears. Alright, take the cabin out. So, the content aware tool is still in here. Which, if we wanted to, we could probably use it to move that boat. I think. So, let's see. Select everything. Got it masked off. Content aware move tool. I've got to rasterize it first. Alright. That's not quite right. I think I'm not getting the mask in there. Yeah. We'll leave it. It's part of multiple layers that's making that boat, so I don't want to mess with it too much. I'm gonna get rid of this little, I don't know, is this like a little balloon up here? Maybe that's their version of a flag. Like something already happened. That's on the original layer, I think. Oh, it's on this layer, okay. Well, let's just use generative fill. It's been a little while since I've used content aware, move and delete and all those things. So there we go. Got rid of it. So if we wanted to do maybe one more big thing, maybe just put something huge right down in the middle here. We'll just say pine tree. It's going to cover this, maybe this little city back here, but I'm hoping it just creates it all the way bottom to top, just to give it something really big in the foreground. Okay. It looks like it actually generated it below the layer that has a little town in it. So let's move it to the top. That gets rid of our town. So that's something to consider. We had things stacked in front of each other, and that's not really what we wanted. Okay, that's cool. So it actually recognized that this is like land, and we actually have a reflection down here. I think I like that the best. So I don't know what happened to our town. There it is. So, Alright, so our town is kind of kaput because it's behind that tree now, but I don't know. I kind of like that better. Let's see, anything else? Let's see, that's probably good for now. We'll flatten that, and then let's see. Not photo filter, what am I looking for? Channel mixer. Now I think I'm just going to do adjustment layer, levels. It's kind of blown out a little bit, the highlights, because the clouds are white and everything. You know, it's probably fine without that. That's not bad. I mean, those hot air balloons are the first thing you see, that's for sure. But anyway, kind of fun. Just experimenting, trying to add new things, seeing how it responds, and yeah, thanks for watching.